Low-value women are a liability, not an asset to their partner. They drop the average value of a couple, and they don't make great long-term partners. And when we say value here, we're talking about the kinds of skills and attributes they can bring to the table, not their intrinsic value as human beings. These types of low-value women are not the ones desirable to build a life, a family, or an empire with. By the end of this video, you'll have a brutally honest list of traits and behaviors. So pay close attention to this list, for growth comes from honesty, which is why people subscribe to us, and you should too. Here are 15 signs of a low-value woman. Number 1. Delusionally inflated sense of value. These kinds of women don't actually bring much to the table. She just thinks she does. They always say they're strong and independent women that are unmarried by choice, that men are intimidated by them when, in reality, high-value men typically avoid them because they don't want to deal with it. This is why some straight women will say, "A man can't handle me." They live in a fantasy land. Many of them are waiting on this outdated idea of a Prince Charming because the media had sold this to them as kids. And no matter who you are, what you do, a knight in shining armor will come and pull you out of your village and put you in a castle. Some of them even believe they look like the filters that they keep using on their photos. They're the ones who light up candles in order to manifest the man of their dreams. They're entitled. They're usually a single child that's been extremely spoiled, despite coming from an average or below average family, and now doesn't understand their actual value in a relationship or in the world, because their parents have given them everything they asked for without much effort, so they expect the same from the world. In her mind, she's a queen, and in real life, she's just average, works an average job in an average apartment, living an average life. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with average. But because she believes she's a queen, she's looking for a king, and she wants to change them. She might look at men as a work in progress, as a pet project that needs to rise to the level of her imagination, a level that she's unable to reach herself. That's why no partner is ever good enough for her. High confidence, when not backed by true value, is unagreeable. Many women live in what is possible, while men tend to go for what is probable. And nobody wants to deal with unrealistic expectations. Number 2. They play games. Low-value women play games with men that they believe are beneath them. They feel like they can walk away and not lose that much. They're the ones who walk away just because they want to see you chase after them. She's always testing you. They operate within gray areas. They flirt with others but don't want you to do the same. She operates in drama, in gossip, because creating chaos makes her feel powerful because it's her creating the chaos. Number 3. Insults and shames others. She belittles people. Maybe not you while she's trying to impress you, but others. And it's just a matter of time and positioning until she does the same to her partner. They treat the waiters and the staff poorly. She's impolite through her behavior. Low-value women insult and shame the people they're with. They compare them to the athletes and high-value men just to make them feel weak and ashamed that you can't provide the same level of lifestyle that these other people can. In her delusion, she feels entitled to that kind of lifestyle. And because most women are physically weaker than men, a low-value woman will rely on inflicting emotional pain. She'll dig into a partner's soul and use their insecurity to inflict that pain. She'll reference their mother, father, or siblings as patterns of poor behavior. Low-value women look down on men because of their height or other physical attributes outside of one's control. You see it all the time. The moment they start losing arguments, they go straight for insults. And speaking of, number 4, loud and inarticulate. There's a saying, money yells, wealth whispers. And it's the same here. You hear it all the time. Loud, in public, yelling, screaming, causing a scene, and making no sense whatsoever. For these kinds of women, feelings are superior to facts. She feels rage, so she's right, and you don't dare explain to her otherwise. Low-value women lack the ability to communicate effectively and efficiently. She lacks the vocabulary needed or the ability to chain ideas and explain them in a way that leads to a solution to whatever problem she believes she's addressing. Not to mention, they're causing a scandal even when there's no valid reason for it. These are the in-your-face kinds of women. She throws things. She'll even shit in your bed if she has to. These women will make you feel like a prisoner in your own relationship. Number 5, children from past relationships or marriages. Now, this is where all the single mama warriors will jump out at the opportunity to call us some names. But we already told you we're going to be brutally honest here, and this one is about society expectations. Because the truth is, our actions have consequences. It doesn't matter if you were young, dumb, an accident, or entirely not your fault. From an objective, brutally honest perspective, here's how society sees the situation. Someone got you pregnant without any commitment of building a life together. And for the folks outside looking in, that can be a major red flag. That signals to society that this woman doesn't make the best choices. She wasn't able to hold a family together, and now she's trying to build a new one while bringing with her children from someone else. And realistically, that can be a major ask and sacrifice you're looking for someone else to make. The reality is, everyone is looking to maximize the value of their efforts. The children have no fault in this, but that doesn't mean the mom gets a free pass, and the choices you make in the past can disqualify you from certain things in the future. Most men want children of their own. Historically, men care about their legacy. It's been ingrained into their DNA to feel and reason this way for thousands of years of evolution, where only the strong had offspring. They work hard to create the best life for their own children, and every effort, every dollar, every second they spend with your existing kids is one that they have to take away from their own children or future children. And look, being divorced and having children from a previous marriage does not necessarily make you a low-value woman. But look at it like this. When given the choice, where all other variables are equal, things like fitness, brains, beauty, etc., most single men would almost always pick someone who doesn't have an ex and a few kids to bring with them, ranking women with no children higher in the social hierarchy. Number 6, out of shape. Fitness is a massive attribute in the way society perceives, judges, and ranks individuals. The healthier a person is, the more appealing they are, so the demand for that person increases, just from a physical perspective. To many people, poor fitness signals a lack of self-awareness. They may not realize that they're not a healthy weight. A lack of self-esteem. They don't take themselves seriously because they don't take care of themselves. A lack of self-control. They just can't stop eating their feelings. And a lack of discipline. They're unable to follow a program and self-motivate. Plus, the more out of shape a person is, the more likely they are to experience illness and disease. And people will look at that and see the potential struggles of the future. The level of your fitness is under your control. Even with genetic complications, there are steps you can take to be in the best possible shape you can be. We actually live in the weirdest time in history where more people die of obesity-related complications than of hunger. Think of the flippening that happened. For centuries, only the rich were fat because only they had access to food. These days, on average, it's the rich who are fit and active, while the poor are bigger and unhealthy. Number 7, trashy. Trashy in this case is the opposite of elegant stature. Society values women who have grace, that show self-respect. Remember, others treat us the way that we treat ourselves. Respect yourself, and others will respect you. We're not looking to shame anybody, but from a probability perspective, in life, you get what you advertise. You can't behave in trashy ways and then be shocked that others don't value that behavior and aren't putting themselves on a silver platter for you. This is a two-way street. You need to take yourself seriously. Number 8. Unresolved trauma of the past. There are 4 billion women in the world. Statistically, some of them have had rough childhoods. Some had problems with their early relationships or haven't been able to develop themselves accordingly. That's why therapy is trending. You need to find ways to solve your past so it's not as much of a burden in the present. The more troubled, the more quote-unquote damaged, the higher maintenance you'll be. That's just a fact. And when we say maintenance here, we're not talking about money. We're talking about the amount of patience, time, and effort, levels that go above and beyond what's required in your average healthy relationship. This is a cost that someone will have to bear just to be with you, and if all other variables are the same, statistically, someone who doesn't need this much work to be done will be chosen more often and will excel in their life and careers. You are not responsible for what happened to you in your past. However, you are responsible for your healing and what happens to you in the future. Number 9. Controlling, jealous, and unable to show trust. Some women are obsessed with control. They're unable to show trust. Both being trustworthy and the ability to show trust are traits valued by society, peers, and potential partners. And this usually stems from personal insecurities. Deep down, they may think they're not worthy of the partner, or they have trust issues from past relationships. So they're constantly looking for reasons to measure them down or cast doubt over what they say. These are the women that go through their partner's phones, emails. They don't allow them to be in the presence of other women. They're always looking for fire, even when there isn't any smoke. Being in a relationship with these kinds of women makes the individual feel trapped and minimized. Nobody can build a life with someone who they don't trust or that doesn't trust them, for that's what committing to building anything of value is. Number 10. A good time, not a long time. Just because you get a lot of attention from men doesn't mean you're a high-value woman. Ranking high from a sexual perspective doesn't really make you wifey material. These are, for lack of a better word, the bimbos. All surface, no substance. They'll have fun with you. They'll sleep with you, they'll date you, they'll go on trips with you, they might even buy you gifts. But they likely have no intention of putting a ring on your finger and starting a family with you. Or if they do, you may have a passive role. Trophy wife isn't what it used to be because men have standards, and although they take pride in your beauty, they don't want you to embarrass them in front of their peers. And this is where even very attractive women struggle because a high-value woman is more than just looks. Looks are a depreciating asset, meaning if looks are all you bring to the table, your perceived value over time decreases as your youthful beauty begins to fade, and then you're seen by these men as a liability. Even if they get married, these are usually the women replaced with a younger spouse because the kind of men they attract only cares about looks. Number 11. A high body count. Everyone has their own metric to what a high body count means. But really, a low-value woman is available if you catch our drift, and has a reputation for being available. Men approach her as a casual fling, not as a meaningful partner, because they know she's okay with it. She's done so plenty of times in the past. Look, everyone's got a past, but if yours openly looks like a sausage factory, well, you can't really question why some high-quality men or women wouldn't be looking for that in a spouse. Number 12, emotionally manipulative. Low-value women are manipulative by nature. They try to trap people by being mischievous. These are the women that cry when you tell them they're wrong. They're the women who trap men emotionally, saying that they would harm themselves if their partner left. They've got no problem with lying to get what they want, because they're gaslighters. She plays the victim card, throwing the blame on others and taking no responsibility. When faced with the truth, she breaks down emotionally. She might say things like, "You don't see I'm already hurting. Why are you hurting me even more?" as a way of escaping the situation. These women have no regard for the truth. She would rather ignore you than apologize for being wrong, and if she does apologize, she expects you to make it up to her for putting her in that kind of situation. She'll keep moving the goalpost, twisting the facts, or throw up smoke screens to deflect from the truth. Number 13, cares more about impressing other women. She thinks because she's a side chick with a Birkin bag that she's superior to a happily married woman with children or one who has built a career for herself. Low-value women associate love and happiness with material possessions. There's even a trend on TikTok where women say their men no longer love them because they refuse to buy them a Range Rover. Although it tries to play off as funny, it's an indicator to where the culture's at right now. She doesn't care whether or not you guys are a happy couple if she can't show it off on expensive holidays. Instagram and flexing culture has transformed the modern woman into one that's obsessed with playing status games. Average women now demand their partners take them on holidays in the Maldives, give them luxury gifts and experiences, despite both of them being average earners. The pressure they put on is sacrificing the long-term wellness of the family so they can earn likes on social media and feel superior to other people online. Number 14, doesn't have a plan for her life. You see these low-value women go through life like there's no tomorrow. Their belief is that they'll figure it out at some point. And although that might work out okay in your early 20s, assuming you don't accidentally get pregnant, once 35 rolls around, things start feeling differently. Life is kind of like a tasting menu at a good restaurant. You start with one dish, then the next, and then the next, and eventually you end up with dessert, you pay the bill, and you go home. Low-value women have no plans for their lives. They don't know what they want to be when they grow up, and they're getting older fast. No matter how much moisturizer you slather on, this doesn't negate the fact that you wasted the last 15 years or more of your life without making something of yourself, or at the very least, figuring out who you are. All of them think they can go into real estate because they've watched Selling Sunset on Netflix. They lack both the skills required to win in the marketplace or make a good housewife. Low-value women just exist. Whenever questioned about it, they'll tell you, "I've got time." Their favorite go-tos are they might go back to school or are looking to start a business, but they're not sure what kind yet. Number 15, they need to be right all the time. There's no conflict resolution with low-value women. They simply want to win at all costs. They will not fold when faced with facts. They'll even tell you that they have their own truth in their magical reality that they've built for themselves, because what they feel is more important than the truth. Their empowerment becomes predatory in nature. Low-value women no longer want to show any sign of weakness, and in their pursuit to be seen without fault, low-value women are no longer willing to admit when they're wrong. They will argue and argue with you on the tiniest of details until you fold. Not because you're losing, but because you're tired of arguing and just want to move on. A successful life in a relationship or in a business environment is one where you can play well with other players. Yet, you watch these reality shows where there's always someone saying, "I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to win." And they never do. You haven't learned anything. A powerful woman is one who is powerful individually and on a team. A low-value woman, on the other hand, is one that brings the average of the group down. Figure out who you want to be in life and make the changes necessary to get there. All right, what else would you add to this list? Do you agree or disagree with it? Let's have a constructive conversation in the comments. Tomorrow, we're releasing this style of video about what a high-value woman is, plus the flip side versions for men next Sunday, so make sure you subscribe. And as for those still watching, of course, we've got a bonus waiting. You can be famous or rich and still be a low-value woman. Notoriety doesn't mean high value, the same way the cash me outside girl isn't seen as graceful. Amber Heard is a great example of someone who's extremely attractive, but the public perception has shifted based on recent trials. Once you have a low reputation, it takes tremendous effort to change that perception. Kim K is the most famous woman in the world right now, a billionaire trying to become a lawyer, a family woman, an advocate for various causes, yet people still look at her past, unsure of where she fits, because they haven't forgotten of how she got her start or the marriages that she went through. In life, we all get what we work for. Forget about these people and judge yourself based on your results, not your potential. And if they're not one and the same, it's time that you close that gap. If you're committed to personal growth, write the word GAP in the comments and like this video. We know the video is going to trigger a lot of people, and we gotta counterbalance that.